Hey everybody, it's Beth. Today I'll be using the bottom part of this jar from Dollar Tree to make a light up beehive. So what I started by doing was taking this wood round from Hobby Lobby and some gel stain and brushing that on and rubbing it in with a baby wipe, and I covered that completely. And then I took that plastic canister piece from Dollar Tree and some of their nautical rope, and I just started hot gluing it, starting with the top of the canister and hot gluing it all the way around. And I don't like to just keep wrapping it because it ends up missing pieces. So what I did was just cut the row and then started it over again, making sure that my pieces started on that same side, and just covered it all the way up to that little rim. And the more spacing you leave between your ropes, the more light that will shine through. And at the bottom of the canister, which is actually going to be the top of my beehive, I didn't cover the top completely. I left the flat part bare, so it'll just stay like that. Next, I took another piece of nautical rope and cut out a strip probably about 3 to 4 inches, and then made that into a circle, attaching it with hot glue. And then I took this black burlap ribbon, cut a strip of it, and hot glued it to that round piece of rope. Once I had that glued on there, I just cut off the excess burlap. And then I took that little piece and glued it to the front of my beehive, so the opposite side of all those glued pieces on the back. And then I took some little bees that I get from Amazon and glued them throughout the front. And then next I took a small piece of floral foam from Dollar Tree and hot glued that to the top of the hive. And then took some eucalyptus, this I get from Walmart, and added that into the floral foam. And then I needed to make a little bow, so I took this honeycomb little ribbon and hot glued a piece end to end. So I cut a strip probably about 10 or 11 inches and put some hot glue on the end of it and just made a couple loops. And then also this bee ribbon did the same thing, just a little bit smaller than the other two. The honeycomb ribbon, I took the loop, pinched it in the center on both of those, and then put them right up next to each other. And then the bee-shaped one, put that on top of those other two. And tied those together with some twine. I made sure to leave that piece of twine nice and long because I'll be using it to attach a couple more things. I took another strip of the honeycomb ribbon, twisted it, and tied it within that twine as well. I took a piece of floral wire, cut a piece, folded it in half, and the part where it's folded in half, I tied it to the twine as well. Trimmed up the twine and trimmed up the wire. Then I took that piece of wire and pushed it in through the floral foam. And then after that was attached, I just cut the tails of the bow and hot glued a bee to the center of the bow. And then next I took my round piece, my light from Dollar Tree, placed it on the center of that, turned it on, and then placed my beehive down. And that is it. Super easy, but looks really pretty. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today I'll be using this honeycomb burlap as well as a couple other burlaps from Dollar Tree and this honeycomb vase. So what I did was took this little flower cutout, which was from Dollar Tree, and I just made a larger version of it and traced that out on the 3 different burlaps I'm using, and I did 2 of each pattern. And then after I had the little pieces cut out, I just took some Mod Podge and brushed it on all of the edges of the burlap to prevent it from fraying. And I did that to all 6 pieces that I cut out. And then just used my heating tool to dry all of those. Next, I took my fabrics and just made sure that I'm using the same pattern to glue together, and held it up against each other just to make sure I have them lined up correctly. Used some fabric hot glue and just went around and glued each petal together, and leaving 1 petal unglued so that I can fill them afterwards. And then I just went around after gluing them together and trimmed up any pieces that were a little bit larger than one side. And then I took these 3 dowels. They were from Hobby Lobby. And I just brushed on some home decor wax by Folkart. And then took a baby wipe to blend them in. And I did this twice just to get a darker color. And then I took some Fiberfill, which I get from Walmart, and stuffed each of my little flowers, making sure to use small amounts at a time so I can fill up each of those petals nice and easily. After I had that one just about filled, I partially hot glued that last petal together, leaving just a little bit of it open so I can put in the dowel and the remainder of the Fiberfill to fill in that last petal. Next, I put some of the hot glue on the end of the dowel, put it inside the flower, and just let that sit there for a minute, and then filled it up the rest of the way with the Fiberfill, and then took the hot glue and closed the rest of the little petal. Once I had all 3 of them filled, I took little buttons. These came from a pack from Dollar Tree, and I just hot glued them to the center of each flower. Next, I took this vase from Dollar Tree, which has like a honeycomb design on it, and I painted it with 2 coats of Sandstone chalk paint by Waverly, and let that dry completely, and then sanded down around the entire thing to show the honeycomb design with the white color showing through. And next I just cut down some floral foam and filled the vase, added some Spanish moss to the top, and then I took 2 of the flowers and pushed the dowels down into the foam, kind of at an angle, and they're more towards the back of the vase, and then trimmed up about 2 inches off of the last one, put that in the front, and that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching.